Good deal. Good deal. Well, as always, you can find us at the... God damn it. I'm in my head now, John.
It sucks.
I'm in my head.
Where can they find us?
All right.
What are you taking your time on?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with Randall Nolery.
Hey.
DJ Mandolini.
Yo.
And John Hines.
Hey there.
I think I did that out of order.
Yeah, it's
Sure
fine.
did.
Does that matter?
Does it matter?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it matters. The Skype audio or the arrangement is out of a different order here. I just kind of went clockwise, and
You know
that's
what?
what we're rolling with today. So
You've
we're
been
back as always
demoted,
to
We're all equal.
leapfrog, a little leapfrog today. So, but yeah, we're back as always to talk about some video games. And I think it was either last week or maybe a couple weeks ago that Randall, you were talking about your experiences with the Xbox Series X, whatever the new Xbox
You got
console
it.
is called.
Yep.
And
Series.
DJ, you are now dipping your toes into the water of the next generation in the other end of the spectrum. So, what have you been trying out so far with your new system?
I'm waist deep, baby. So kill me. So I don't have like much for the PS5 right now. Like, you know, I was expecting to get it like in a couple weeks. At least that's what Walmart made it seem like. But I got it a few days ago, so I'm like, oh, okay. So I just it comes with that Astro's Playroom game, which is just like a cute little platformer where it's like it's taking place inside of the PS5 kinda, and like
Oh, nice.
and like they're like 4 different worlds, and they've got all these like hidden artifacts you can get that are like accessories from prior generations. Like
Nice.
one world is like dedicated to all the PS1 stuff, and so it's like, I don't know, it's just like a very cute and like nice little celebration / history of like where PlayStation has been. And, you know, like there'll be some like side characters or like that'll be referencing other games. Like there'll be like this one little robot guy just like shooting guns like Nathan Drake, and
Your favorite character.
fucking jeez, and like other ones with like Crash Bandicoot masks. So it's
Sure.
It was just like a very feel good. Let's celebrate this launch. I don't know, kind of. I loved it.
That sounds really awesome, to be honest. Like, that sounds like a really cool, like, totally different. But I thought, like, Nintendo Land was pretty cool that came with the Wii U. And I thought, not quite the same, but it's still kind of like, oh, you got a little, like, Link thing, and you got a little Mario thing, and you got kind of a little taste of a bunch of Nintendo stuff. But
Dude,
I remember, I'm pretty sure that Astro Bot game, isn't there, like, a VR platformer in that series? Yeah, because I played, like, the demo of that, which because you can play it not in VR, and it seemed pretty cool. You actually, like, you kind of play as, like, if you're the character kind of, like you're the player kind of like looking down at the level, and you actually like are holding a controller, and like it was a really cool experience.
Nice.
So this sounds really cool. I didn't realize that came with the system or that it was even out.
Just cool to get a pack-in game, too. Like, that doesn't
Yeah, they
really
don't do
happen
that these days anymore.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all. And it did give me some very like Nintendo Land vibes, or
Nice.
like I remember when I was doing Nintendo Lab for the first time and like doing stuff like with the Donkey Kong, like the game that's like showing off all of the motion controls and like you blow into the mic. There's similar stuff. There's like kind of
Nice.
like each world has its own way of like introducing you to like, you know, different elements like the motion controls and like the haptic feedback. So it was really fun, really cute, and like you could 100% it within like 3 hours. So
okay.
That sounds so perfect. Like, what a great way to like fire up the system and like have like your first night with it, probably just like, hey, let me run through this game.
Right.
Yeah, I totally took me by surprise. So it's very pleased with that. But then, you know, I had to move on to my baby. The one of the big reasons I wanted the PS5 so quickly was because I wanted Demon Souls, because Kevin, you had introduced that to me back when we were living together like 7 or 8 years ago. And I'd always been like wanting it to be like remade or something on the PS4, and I would look it up and, it seemed like, oh, okay, this is never going to happen. And so I got so pumped when they announced it for the PS5. So I have succumbed, and that is.
I thought you were going to say that you beat it already.
No, but I'm putting in some work. Doing way better than like my first run, because like Demon Souls, like that was my first time playing any of like the Souls games. So like I think I just didn't know what the fuck was up then, and now like I'm like breezing through it in comparison to when I first played it, which is cool. But also probably another factor in that is how there's just like no more load screens, because everything loads instantly.
Yes, baby.
That's really cool.
Fucking nice. Like, I've just gotten so used to like when you die or when you're like transporting to a different location, the load screen that gives you the lore like about certain items or whatever.
No lore this time. No story.
Nope.
Yes.
It's just
my kind of games.
It's
seriously though. The SSDs on these new consoles is a game changer for the no loading times. It is just night and day. Loving it.
You're saying, when you're saying no loading time, you truly mean like zero loading time?
I'm saying, okay, so let's say I die. It shows the like you died text. And then it fades right to like some like gray fog for maybe 1 second, and then I'm booted back up to
beautiful
my respawn. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. It is like the Souls games are like, kind of not the most visually appealing, I'd say, but like this is like beautiful, like especially like at times where you die, you kind of like your body just like turns into this like blue spirit dust really quickly, and like just that animation is just like so nice, and nice. It's such a good looking game.
Nice.
So I'm getting.
Heck yeah!
What were you gonna say?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm also finding myself back on the DJ diet where I just forget to eat. I've been playing this game all day and was afraid I was gonna be late to our recording because of it.
Hey, that's like the best endorsement of a good game.
No
like,
doubt.
hey, I forgot about my other prior engagements while I was playing it.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was like, how are you enjoying? Because I know we kind of talked a little bit in like the Discord about the, or maybe it was just from texting or something, but talking about like the PS5 like interface and like the actual like system experience on the whole. I know that obviously you've only played a couple of games, but like, how are you liking that? Like, does it feel like a new, fresh thing, or like how's the PS5 treating you in that regard?
Yeah, I've got a little bit to get used to. But I do like it. It does seem like a more streamlined experience. Like I like being able to switch to different apps without having to like fully exit out of the app I'm already in, going to the home page and then maneuvering wherever I want. There's some more flexibility. The one thing I was surprised with is that there's no web browser, or at least I've seen that maybe there's a hidden way, but like PS4 had a web browser, so I was assuming PS5 would. But at the same time, I think like, I don't know, I suspect that all the wrestling streaming I did on my PS4 took like some sort of toll on it. So in a way,
all those pop-ups that would pop up, it was just like, this seems kind of dicey.
Yeah, so I'm kind of actually relieved in a way to not worry about that at all. I can just use my phone for that.
Keep it clean.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'd completely forgotten about the PS Plus collection that they are giving out for PS5 owners. It's just like there's the like 20 games of like classics that like you just get, and I already had like a lot of them just being a PS Plus member for so long, but I was able to like nab up some new ones that I had been looking into, like Persona 5 and Battlefield 1 and
cool.
Dang.
Days Gone, The Last Guardian. So I'm like,
sweet.
I'm
Oh,
pumped.
heck yeah.
Jeez.
I still got to play The Last Guardian. You got that for me for my birthday, like, I don't know, fucking 5 years ago, DJ.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If not longer.
Yeah. Didn't I give you like some European version by
Yeah, it's the
mistake?
European. I got the Peggy rating, but it plays on, it's region
Peggy
free on the
18.
PS4. So, you know what? Maybe I'll do a stream of that game sometime. That would be kind of a fun one to just go in blind and, I don't know, see what that bird monster is all about.
He's a dog bird monster.
Well, come on,
some kind
Kevin.
of hybrid of like 4 different animals.
Well, maybe I'll beat you to it. But
Yeah,
what
probably.
DJ, tell me about your experiences with that controller, because I've heard nothing but good things, but only in the abstract. So I really want to hear your impressions.
I mean, I don't have like specific thoughts. I mean, I really like it. I think the motion controls work really well.
Nice.
I like the haptic feedback, or at least how it was utilized in Astro's Playroom. Like I definitely like the increase in size too. Like it's definitely like noticeably better. And I'd always kind of like ignored the smallness of the prior PlayStation controllers, but this is like a nice sweet spot, I think. And it's also nice, like I forgot that the mic was built right into it. So I don't have to worry about plugging in my little dumb earbud that came with my PS4. And from what I've heard when I've been like gaming with other people, like the audio quality is pretty good. So it's
Nice.
So
That's really cool and convenient.
yeah. I'm digging it, and the battery life has been noticeably longer than the PS4.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Because it was a little short on PS4, I would say, on average.
Yeah. And like I was maybe considering getting just a second controller because I like to, just have one charging, and if the one I'm using runs low, just switch it out. But like I might not even have to really do that. Just let it charge at night, and I should be good to go for the day.
Good for the day, yeah.
That's sweet.
That's really great to hear about that size increase. I hadn't realized that, but the PlayStation has always like been probably the controller the most that kind of cramps up my hand a little bit.
Same.
As far as like any of the consoles go. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to hear that.
Yeah, I'm very pumped. I plan to have many stories in future episodes, but I also am excited for possibly John having new stories for future episodes, because I will be loaning him my PlayStation 4 so you can
continuing my trend of never owning a current console that isn't Nintendo.
Dude, it's about
Heck
time
yeah.
it's about time you checked out some games like God of War and
Oh my god, yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn and Marvel's Spider-Man.
Too.
Oh yeah, God. I was making a list in my head. Like Nier Automata is a game that I also want to play. Like there's so many like games that I've like just put outside of my like field of vision, being like, yeah, I'll probably play that in 10 years when like it's on a like cheap system that I buy used from like the exchange or somewhere.
Right, or when they port it to a new current, a Switch or something.
Right. Yeah, when I played BioShock Infinite when it was on Mac.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know we talked about how like we're probably gonna have to coordinate like when one of us is online or whatever if you're gonna use my account, but I kept Fall Guys on there because I think that is a game that you will love.
Yeah, I'm
nice.
I'll look forward to that. And thank you again, because that is
Thank you. I'm gonna make a convert out of
awesome. I'm stoked to hear about John's PlayStation life.
Yeah, me too.
Moving forward, yeah. But John, why don't we just toss the ball over your way and see what you've been playing lately?
Yeah, so I've mostly been playing Grindstone, which was released for the Switch. kind of out of nowhere. I believe it was on an indie showcase. That
it was during one of those indie world. Yeah, those are awesome. People always bitch, and they pretty much just bitch like Silk Song didn't come out, Silk Song didn't get announced. Yeah. It's just like, just fucking get over it. They just released like 5 awesome games today out of the blue, and said like a bunch more are coming out in like the next month. It's like, just shut the fuck up. It's coming out. They're making it.
And like literally every
I just got a rant.
Comes out on Switch.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, calm down.
Yeah, it's like they're making the game. They didn't cancel Silk Song. Just sorry, I just had a rant. It makes me so mad because I always get so pumped for these directs and these indie world showcases.
Are you done?
Yeah. I thought you froze for a sec.
Anyway,
John's turn.
So I picked up Grindstone, which was a game that was originally released for the Apple Arcade, and I was really pumped when I heard that when it was first released. But like most people who were really pumped about it, I also didn't want to buy Apple Arcade a subscription.
Right.
So just kind of also punted it down the road. Like that'll be a game that you'll play either when it gets taken off Apple Arcade or gets ported somewhere else. And it's a Capybara game, which Kevin, you're a big fan of theirs with
Huge
Critter Crunch.
Critter Crunch and Might and Magic Clash of Heroes.
Oh.
Yeah. Just such an amazing game.
Heck
Both
yeah.
those games.
Oh, yeah.
And
they know how to do puzzle games, I will say that.
Oh, yeah. And this is no exception on that. Like it was very clearly like I talked a bit about this in our Discord and like over text, how like it really does feel like a mobile game. And I was drawing comparisons to other mobile games, like Dots was one that like kind of gave me that, like it has that level based thing where you're progressing along, you clear a level and then you move on to a new scenario, and they introduce either new mechanics or like new color schemes, like other things that, like just to keep it fresh and level to level. But basically what the mechanics of the game is like you have a octo-directional character on a grid, so you can make you are connecting your slices of these little critters, which are their creeps are the names of the enemies that are just colors, and you're trying to link together as many as you can. And if you link together 10 in a chain, then you get a grindstone, and then you can use that if you reach the end of a chain near a grindstone, then you can start up another chain in that like same chain, but with a different color. So you're trying to like map around and like get as high combos as you can. And for the early levels, you're just trying to clear the level. Like they'll say, oh, you need to clear like 50 creeps in order to unlock the door. And then later on, they add in treasure chests and also another like level of enemies that they have that aren't color enemies but have hit points. So you need to have like if they have 5 HP, you have to like have a 5 combo before you can attack that enemy and then kill it. But then
cool. That's cool.
Then your counter goes back down to 0, so you can't like do a 5 chain and then like get 2 enemies with 5 HP. So you're trying to just link together things and keep it like as large as possible, like gets high score multipliers. But in addition to treasure chests, which you have to kill an enemy that has a key, and then you have to get 10, like all treasure chests have 10 HP. So like then they only appear after you clear the main like door requirement to unlock the door. And then also after you clear the door requirement, then they have royal slobs, which are these, they always have a specific color that corresponds to a creep. So you have to chain together that specific creep combo in order to attack them. So that's another thing that you just have to, and again, that only happens at the end of a level. And as you're playing a level, the creeps can sometimes attack you, like they'll like be energized, and if you stop your turn next to one that's energized, they'll hit you and that'll take away a hit point. So, but after you clear the door requirement, then all the creeps start getting more agitated, and it becomes more dangerous to just stick around. So you're trying to do that as fast as possible and like not get them or like put yourself in a dangerous position. and it's just a really good way to balance it. And like, for the longest time, I was like, okay, I need to clear all 3 objectives first try, like every single one. And then I did that until I wasn't able to do that anymore. And I was like, you know what? I'm just clearing the door requirement and moving on to the next level. Like,
yes, sir.
And I'll come back to that later. And like,
yeah. What kind of like what do you when you say door requirements? Like, is it all just like kill this many enemies or get this many combos? Or?
It's so far what I've encountered is just like kill this many creeps or kill, and like the enemies that aren't like color coded but have like HP, those are jerks. So it's either like kill X amount of creeps or kill X amount of jerks.
Nice.
That's awesome.
It's really great. And the thing that I just a small touch that I really like is when you get the royal slob of a level. Like the first time that you do it, like since it's all like very like Viking warrior theme, like it like prompts you to like button mash. Obviously, when it was on a phone, it was probably just tapping the screen,
right?
And like it like brings up the royal slob, and you're just like beating him until he like explodes. And like the first couple times, I'm like, this kind of is upsetting, and I don't like doing that. But then, like, after I did it a couple times, I noticed that there was you could press B to skip instead of, like, beating him to a pulp. And instead you would hear a little, like, kiss noise, and, like, it would, like, he would poof away in, like, a cloud of pink smoke. Nice. And you would still get his crown. But it was just, like, a nice touch that I really appreciated. I didn't feel great about, like, just pummeling this guy.
I don't have to brutalize this thing, yeah.
But it's still like just a massive game. Besides that, like there's an inn that, you know, if you lose hit points, there's a pub that you can refill your health in. There's an armory that lets you take in as special equipment into each level, like so like you can pull up a shield X amount of times in a level to like guard against any enemy attacks if you're put in a place that you really just can't get out of, like you're always going to get hit. Or you can shoot arrows or like throw bombs. There's also an armor. In addition to the weapons armory, there's like an equipment armory where like you get to wear different outfits that have different perks. And then there's also a Helga runs a like basement restaurant that like you give her guts from creeps, and she like cooks you food that gives you perks. Like there's just so much depth to this game that is really, really fun, and I really like it.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of layers going on.
Yeah. And also, like, the music is by Sam Webster. And
I've heard nothing but great things, yeah.
I've listened to the album, like, several times, like, not...
Nice.
Like, just outside of the game. Like, it's a very good, like riding the line between, like... electronic hip hop and like chill lo-fi beats to study to.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm down.
That sounds
it does get aggressive
at
times, but like it's still just a really pleasant thing to listen to, and I'm gonna be playing it for a long time.
Yeah, you got not that I wasn't sold already because I knew I wanted to check this game out eventually, but yeah, that's on my list pretty high up.
Seems like a perfect match for Switch too.
It's yeah. Oh, and you can also, it has touch controls.
Nice.
So I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure it has that option. Were you playing with the controller or were you using the touch?
I've mostly been playing with the controller, but there have been a couple times where I'm using an equipment item and like I'm hitting A, but like the joystick moves like slightly, so I hit like a panel away from where I want, and that's been frustrating. And you don't get that when you're using touch controls, but then you can only play it in handheld, so...
Right.
Yeah.
A bit of both. But Kevin, what have you been playing lately?
Well, I've actually been playing some stuff earlier today before we started the podcast. But before I get to that, I want to actually take my foot directly out of my mouth from last week, because I was taking we talked about kind of more on this game Unruly Heroes that Randall and I kind of dipped our toes into. I played a little bit more than he did. And then my brother and his fiance got a Switch for Christmas, and I was kind of going through my cartridges of like, okay, I was thinking about maybe getting rid of some of these games, and I took a big dump on Rayman Legends last week, like I said. And I just kind of was like, and they're made by Unruly Heroes, just to kind of draw the connection again. They're like made by, it's an indie team, Magic Design Studios, but it's made up of a lot of the people that worked on the Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends games.
And you can tell, like, there's some similar DNA there.
Big time. It's like a little bit, it's kind of the same style game, same style art, but 4 different characters you can switch between, like, on the fly. I think it also has multiplayer, just like the Rayman games. But it's a little bit more like a beat 'em up style combat, as opposed to like it definitely gets more into like the combat than Rayman does. But anyways, I popped my Rayman Legends cartridge into my Switch, and I've actually been playing the shit out of that game lately. I really am enjoying it. I mean, I still have a lot of the same gripes that I had. I still feel like the controls are a little bit floaty and finicky at times. Like, I feel like it's just sometimes like, am I running fast enough? Am I going to do the long jump, or am I going to do like the kind of high jump? And like,
if you have to ask, you're not running fast enough.
Well, that's another thing that's annoying is like sometimes like we talked about those Murph levels that are like designed for specifically because the game was originally going to be a Wii U exclusive.
Right.
And now you're just like kind of pressing a button on the fly to like trigger things.
Right.
And that can be a little finicky at times. And on top of that, sometimes Murph will appear like mid-level and you'll be like speed running, burning through a level, and then every single time it plays this like little cutscene, like it stops the momentum, and then Rayman stops and it zooms in and he like waves, and then Murph comes and flies in. It just kind of kills the momentum of the game because you really are kind of like almost speed running through these levels ideally.
Right.
But I will say it comes with a bunch of the Rayman Origins levels as well.
Yeah.
And I went and played some of those, and I do think with Rayman Legends they do a way better job of like laying out those lums. Like they're kind of like in a more like direct path where like in Rayman Origins they're kind of like floating around a bunch and you have to like kind of chase them down. And that was something that I guess just assumed was more of the same in Rayman Legends, but definitely is not. It feels more like, hey, here's the path. So like they kind of telegraph some of the secrets or whatever. It's really well designed. It does get annoying. Like it still tells me every level. It tells me what button jumps, what button runs.
Really?
It's like Mario Odyssey style. Like it'll be like, do this to wall jump. Like almost every time that something comes, it's like obnoxious. Yeah.
I don't remember that playing it on Wii U, but I don't know. Yeah.
It's definitely there. Like, it's like, I mean, not every level tells you to jump. That was an exaggeration, but like it will, like on the levels where like you're kind of doing like the speed running boss type things. It's like, it will tell you like hold down ZR to run like every freaking time.
You're talking like the auto runner kind of more musical levels.
So even the ones that are more like where like the flames are chasing you, like the wall of flames or anything like that. But anything where you're just kind of like clearly supposed to be sprinting through the level the whole time.
Right.
I am also not a huge fan of those music levels. I mean, they're fun to play, but I really don't like the songs they pick. I think it's so lame. Like the first, I only got to one of them, but I've been like kind of bouncing around because you can just go through. And I'm not a huge fan of how you have to collect things a lot to unlock things in out of order and whatever. But that's just like a minor gripe. But like the first song was like that. What's that Black Betty song? Wham-a-lam. I cannot stand that song. You just couldn't pick a more annoying song to put that to. But
it's fun you know in that game.
It works, but it's like, it's just like they picked like I remember Rayman Origins or one. I know they use Eye of the Tiger and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, don't pick the most obvious songs. I don't know, just kind of dumb in my opinion. But anyways, like it just seems like a waste to get the rights to those songs. If you're gonna go out of your way to get rights to songs, I would just pick something different, I guess. But that's just me. But yeah, I kind of had a question though, Randall, because I've been still playing Unruly Heroes and playing Rayman Legends and bouncing back and forth. And I know you mentioned with Unruly Heroes, your kind of main gripe was like the lack of polish or like something about the polish.
Yeah.
And I really don't see the difference between the games playing them side by side. Like I really think they go hand in hand. Like there's not really much of a difference between the two. The only thing I'll say is Unruly Heroes has some of the worst voice acting I've heard in a while. Like just really hammy and really kind of underacted.
Yeah.
But like they're like overacting, but like not into it at all. It seems like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like really, I mean, you can thankfully just skip right over it, but like it's very that comes across kind of hacky.
And I feel bad skipping over it because that's supposed to be part of the presentation, right? But yeah, I find myself kind of doing the same thing. after a little while.
But was that like your main gripe about the polish, or?
Yeah, like even, going into the game, it just felt like, man, it just felt like they rushed this out. Like the presentation aspect of the polish wasn't all there. But like when you get into the game, the gameplay as far as the visuals when you're playing, very similar to Rayman.
It's up there.
Can't complain about that part in Unruly Heroes. It was just like the way that they were kind of explaining even through that first level of how you're supposed to play and kind of like the button prompts and stuff just didn't look as polished as in like presentation wise to me as like Rayman does or another game.
Yeah, I know what you mean in that regard. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really having a good time, and I think before when we talked about it, I hadn't fought the first boss yet in Unruly Heroes. Yeah. And that first boss battle, and I'm usually not a big boss battle fan, it was fucking sweet. Yeah. Like one of the coolest boss battles that I've seen in a while.
Okay.
It had multiple phases and like incorporating a lot of platforming and a lot of like, it was awesome. It was just really, really cool. So that was sort of what I wanted to just kind of, again, take my foot out of my mouth from last week, because I do really enjoy Rayman Legends. I'm keeping that cartridge. My brother's going to have to wait. Yay. He's going to get some other duds, from me instead. But real quick, I just wanted to mention a few other games that I've been streaming and playing. I did just a little streaming waiting to before we recorded the podcast tonight. But last night, our pals, I guess they're our pals over at SuperTry Studios. We've talked about Hack before on the podcast, both DJ and I, and huge fans of their stuff. And over the course of this year, they put out 12 games, one game every month. And this one, they put out Bazooka Panic. They just put out like just a couple of days before the end of the year. And man, it is just fantastic. It's probably my favorite thing other than Hack that I've played from them so far. It's like a side-scrolling platformer, roguelike, where you're actually just trying to climb up this tower, and you have this bazooka with limited ammo. You start out with like 4 or 5, but you can pick up more as you go. You get different buffs and perks along the way. And actually the enemies in this game are also called jerks. When you're playing through the tutorial, it's like jump on jerks to kill them. But you also have this really cool mechanic where like you can hold, at first I thought you had to do like a thumb roll, like a Hadouken, to do this like kind of roll jump, but you actually just hold like down on a diagonal. And then you do like this dash, like almost like a Sonic roll, but kind of like a jump roll. It's like for you to clear longer gaps, but also if you land on enemies, you can like really start picking up speed. You can also do it like while you're in the air. You can like do it to like come down on top of enemies. So just really has some expressive controls. And I just really was enjoying the bit I played so far. I played for maybe like 45 minutes or so, and you can play it right in your browser.
Nice.
I just really recommend checking out their games, and we'll put a link in the episode description as always. And then before tonight, I actually just recently found this developer just today called Dazlog. And I ended up, like, one of their games caught my eye that they made for the Game Boy Jam. I think it was this year, maybe last year. It was called Mystical Samurai. And I was like, oh, we got a little Legend of the Mystical Ninja vibe going on here. But it's more of like, it's just like a side-scrolling. I mean, it's got the green, Game Boy aesthetic.
Sure.
Pretty straightforward. But for a Game Jam game that was made, I don't know how long this jam went for, but it had 3 solid levels that were really hard with a boss battle at the end of each one. And it was super tough. I beat it in, maybe like a half hour, 20 minutes or so, but that game was really cool. And then I ended up checking out this other game called Bobo Gooey, and it was really, really clever puzzle platformer. You play as this character named Bobo, and it's a side-scrolling platformer, and then there's like these gooey, like goop splashes on the wall that you can jump into, and then you can essentially like get absorbed into the goop and then move along it like tile by tile.
Ooh. Like Super Mario Brothers 2? Or not, Super Mario Land 2?
I was going to say more like, I'm not super familiar with that game, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know the frame of reference. I was going to say, though, kind of like Super Mario World, where like you can grab onto the gates. But in that game, you can move freely, but like where you kind of jump up and grab onto the gates. It's kind of like that. But then you have to utilize that to like go into this goop and then to sometimes just traverse the, it's a little bit of precision, but more of a puzzle platformer than precision.
Yeah.
But you do have to do a little bit of finesse here and there, but you're mostly like trying to push these blocks around that are going to block some lasers. It kind of reminded me of a game that I talked about a long time ago called Which Way. But it had very similar mechanics, really cool pixel art, really great music.
Nice.
And it had like 20 levels, kind of bite size. Again, probably took me like a half hour to rip through, but really enjoyed the mechanics. It was just, like, these are like kind of my favorite types of games. You know, in our holiday episode, I talked about like Matt Ugg and Daniel Linson, like just love like, hey, here's an idea that I explored to, you know, however far I wanted to explore it, whether it was for a game jam or for, you know, I just want to explore this concept. I'm not going to make it into a full-fledged release, but here's a game.
Right.
And I that's just like my favorite type of thing to play. So I really recommend checking all these games out. And I can't wait. They had a couple other games that looked really cool too. So I'm really excited to check out some more of their stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've been playing lately. I shouldn't say all. I've been playing a bunch of other stuff, but I've talked enough, I should say. But what have you been up to, Randall?
Well, my favorite thing to play. So
let's guess.
Yeah, take a wild guess. Yeah,
it's got to have the most airtime out of anything we've ever discussed on
sorry.
this podcast. If you take every version, that's okay. Come on.
So as I spoke last regular episode, I got an Xbox Series X. I didn't have any games exclusive to, well, I guess this isn't exclusive either, but made for the Xbox Series X yet. I just had a lot of games that were backwards compatible. But for Christmas, I got the main game I was looking for, which was NBA 2K21.
Yes.
Attaboy.
My GM.
Didn't even wait for it to be $3. I got it for free.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Promptly went into the My GM mode. As I'm wont to do, because I don't do enough spreadsheets during the day in my regular job. I need to do it at night too. So I went into my basketball-themed RPG roguelike, as I'm wont to do.
Yes.
And so My GM is updated again, though. So they built on the foundation of My GM 2.0, which I've talked about before. But now the presentation is so much cleaner and it's so much easier to get to stuff. And based on like the way they let you kind of pick the settings for your My GM mode, and now I got to cut out all of like the cutscene bullshit, all the player morale bullshit that I was like spending a ton of time to make sure all of my players were happy so they performed up to their level. Didn't have to mess with any of that stuff anymore.
Wow,
I got
that's
to do
sweet.
Just the management and spreadsheet stuff that I like to do. Manage my assets.
That's really cool, though. That's really cool that you can
is.
customize it that way.
Yeah, it is. There's tons of customization in it, which I appreciate. But yeah, got to start with my Pistons in the 2020/2021 off season. We won the championship 2 years later.
Oh,
So that's
Nice. Cruising along already.
yep. Tore the team apart. Besides Sekou Doumbouya, he's the only one that I kept. I traded everybody else for parts.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't have quite the squad they had when we were growing up, Randall.
No. So took whatever I could get for all those folks, which was, you end up getting stuff that you can turn into first round picks, and then you hold those first round picks and you trade them for assets. And yeah, eventually you get enough drafted A+ potential players. And what's nice about this too, but also made it a little too easy, is the 2K developers have kind of caught up with how the modern NBA works now, where young players as young as like 2021 can be superstars.
Yeah.
Like, it does not take long anymore. Like, I don't know what changed, if it's just like the general sports science or like medicine or what's like, or just we know a lot more, but like there's a ton of these guys in the league now that are, like 21 and are bona fide superstars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that extends here, where in previous iterations of the 2K My GM mode, I would get these A+ potential guys, but I'd have to sit on them for 4 or 5 years to get to be where they're like, all right, you're an awesome starter, like star player. Now it's like, boom, 2 years, I can win a championship because I drafted like LaMelo Ball or like other guys like that just turn around and in 2 years are, 90 out of 100 players, That's like the rating. So
now,
yeah,
to compensate for that, is there like now just like a larger pool of players that are better, like, or do they like start to taper off like sooner? Like, are they making like, like maybe this player's in like their like early 30s? Like, are they like significantly worse than previous games, or is that still like pretty much the same?
That's a good question. I don't hold on to players in their early 30s.
Cutthroat.
And I say that as someone in my 30s. No, I'm all about
we know how worthless we are.
Yeah.
Once you hit 30, it's over, man.
Especially in sports, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're like LeBron or Kevin Durant or somebody.
Or Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah,
that's about it.
In your 40s. But yeah, I think that is the case to some degree. But yeah, like most of the guys I keep, they're at their maximum primes by like 26, 27. Yeah. And then if I see them tapering off in any degree, they get traded away for picks.
Oh my God.
Well, you got to trade them away while they're still valuable, right?
Yeah. I don't have to have a relationship with these guys. You can be cutthroats. Actually, Sekou did not stick around with me, though. He was upset that he didn't get an extension and he left. So I didn't get anything for him, which was disappointing.
Well, you traded all his friends away.
I did. I did. And thankfully, I had like 2 other guys with A+ potential right behind him, so it didn't really matter much. But
God.
Yeah.
So that's my GM mode. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm like 8 years in. You can sim the years so fast because the Xbox Series X is so much faster with SSD, which is also amazing. And it's cut out all that other bullshit. So I can sim years so quickly. But now I'm at a point where I have like too many draft picks. And it gives me kind of anxiety because you can only have 15 players on a squad. You can send a couple guys to G League, but
just sitting on draft picks.
Yeah, I seriously had like 10 or 11 draft picks, first round draft picks in a year.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's like half the round or a third of the round.
A third of the round, yes. And it didn't take long to get to that point. So now I'm gonna boot up another run basically, and I'm gonna play as an expansion team on hard mode. So we'll see how that goes.
Hell yeah!
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Gonna start a team in Seattle.
Now, how do you feel about, since you mentioned you're playing it on the Series X?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like it's a massive upgrade compared to 2K20? As far as like visually and whatnot?
Yeah, so I actually did play a couple of regular games of 2K because that's kind of what I should do. And it looks nice. And you can definitely tell in like the sweat on players and kind of the detail and kind of how the jerseys move and animations and stuff. It's very smooth. It looks really, really nice.
Everything I've seen looks great. Like, it looks like what they thought the Madden on 360 looked like, you know, like when I still never forget that commercial zooming in on Donovan McNabb's sweaty face and like, just like, oh, this is amazing. And it just kind of looked bad.
Yeah. They did the best they could at the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. At the time it was pretty cool, but
I'd be so
back,
interested to see like how this ages too. Like,
yeah.
Like, because again, when you're in the era of cutting edge, it doesn't look dated at all.
It just feels awesome. Yeah.
Right. Like I was texting or putting in the Discord about like watching the original StarCraft videos.
Yeah.
And being I thought this looked incredible when it came out.
Like, you were like, these cutscenes.
Oh yeah.
And like it looks embarrassing now. Like it's a technical achievement for the time. Yes.
Oh yeah.
But oh my God, in comparison, it looks like reboot.
I know.
Luckily,
Warcraft and just thinking about how long. What's that, Deej?
Said luckily Warcraft 3 is still good, so I don't have to trash the game I love.
It's good in my memory.
Yeah,
like,
they got
so was StarCraft was good in my memory. Now I'm doubting it.
Yeah. No, it is fun to go back and see that stuff though. But it almost like makes you feel bad because like, you know, somebody worked so hard on this.
Yes. And
now you're like just watching it and laughing at it. You're just like, ah, man.
That being said, though, I'll still go back to like NFL 2K5 or some of those games of that era, like the GameCube, Xbox original era, and play those. And they're fun for what they are too. They're like they look like decent enough to be playable.
Yeah, they had a little more of an arcadey feel to the gameplay. So yeah, I do appreciate that as well. Even though I know you do like to get into the nitty gritty, obviously, Randall, with the GM mode and all that.
A little bit. I've won the championship 5 times in 8 years. So
nice.
Now it's time.
Well done. Well done. Again, starting with the 2021 Pistons.
Correct.
That's saying something. So
man,
that's no small task or no small feat.
All you gotta
do
is trade everyone away.
Yeah, and then you're not the Pistons anymore.
That's why you cheer for the laundry, not for the players.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's great. I'm excited to hear more about updates because I'm sure we're gonna get them. So
yeah, I'll try to keep it brief.
No, man. We're always down to talk basketball. Like I said many times, like I always feel bad that we're saving it for last on the episodes, but you're always like, hey, let's put it at the end of the episode.
Yep,
so
that's where it belongs.
There you have it. Yeah, we'll saving the basketball talk. We're keeping you in the loop.
That's right.
All right. Well, I think we can pretty much wrap up the games talk there this week, guys. And as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com. We're on Twitter, Instagram. Just look up Pursuing Pixels. We're on YouTube. We've been streaming a bunch on Twitch. Hang out with us in the Discord. We've had quite a few people joining lately. So that's been fun to have some conversations. There's some other people that have been streaming some cool indie games and whatnot in the chat. And so, yeah, just feel free to come hang. Shoot us a message on Gmail. I'm rambling per usual, but we'll wrap things up there and have a good night, everybody. Take care. We'll catch you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See ya.
Yeah, that's what I've been playing. What about you, Kevin? What have you been taking that time in? What the fuck? What is
taking that time?
That's not a sentence.
What have you been taking it? How about
taking your time in?
It reminds me of that little Paul Rudd type stuff where he like comes up with those cheesy slogans.
Yes. All right, let me try.
It's like I'll catch you later, or I'll catch you on another time.
All right. But yeah, I'll be playing that game for a long time coming. What? But Kevin, what have you been? What the fuck am I doing?
All right, now I'm feeling like because I get in my head so much when I'm doing anything where I'm like framing or transitioning or anything.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's great. This is great.
Yeah.
It's like that Chris Farley sketch where he's like, you like music? He's like interviewing Paul McCartney.
Oh, that's great. Chris Farley was so good.
Yeah, he was.